And we are live. Hi, my name is Tyriece Simon,
My name is Sergio Marquez.
and this is Play Action, Episode 6, and our new channel, Renegade Sports, which I'm super excited about. Sergio, how you doing, sir?
Good, man. A little depressed, but here talking about football with my man, it's gonna be fun.
And, for listeners, new listeners to the show, old listeners, let's just reestablish as well. You, sir, are a huge Giants fan. Are you not?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And I'm a Raiders fan. To my dismay sometimes, but I am a Raiders fan nonetheless.
Nonetheless, man. Nonetheless, dude, thick and thin.
That is important to say because I'm going to grill Sergio Marquez later on in the show about Daniel Jones, which would be fun.
Oh man, you can't even say nothing, man. You can't even say
I
nothing.
can, I
No,
can,
you can't.
I definitely can. But sir, how did you like week 7 of the NFL overall?
To be honest, kind of went as expected. Nothing really like no crazy upsets, no crazy games that you're like, oh wow, I wouldn't have expected from some team. This week was kind of just like, all right, go by the books.
I
You
think
know
one team I was surprised by.
what team? I wasn't really surprised by any team, to be completely honest with you.
Titans Chargers was one I was surprised by.
Not necessarily because the Chargers haven't been an outstanding team this year.
You're right. You're right in that sense. But just going into the season, I was
No,
like,
yeah,
you'll be surprised that the Chargers are losing to the Titans or that the record that they have.
I get.
You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I agree with you in that sense. Absolutely.
But let's run through the standings so far as it stands. So the NFC East, the Cowboys, your favorite team, are the first in division, 4-3. Eagles behind them, 3-4. The Giants are 2-5. Washington is 1-6. NFC North, the Packers are 6-1. The Vikings are 5-2. The Bears are 3-3, and the Lions are 2-3, and they're tied with one with the Cardinals. The Saints are 6-1. The Panthers are 4-2. The Buccaneers are 2-4. The Falcons are 1-6. NFC West 49ers are 6-0. Seahawks are 5-2. Rams are 4-3. Cardinals are 3-1, tied with the Lions. And in the AFC East, Patriots, best team in the league so far, 7-0. Bills 5-1. Jets 1-5. Dolphins 0-6. AFC South, Colts is 4-2 with the win over the Texans. Texans are 4-3. Jaguars are 3-4. Titans are 3-4. AFC North, Ravens are 5-2. Browns are 2-4. Steelers are 2-4. Bengals are 0-7. And lastly, AFC West, Chiefs are 5-2. Raiders are 3-3. Broncos are 2-5. Chargers are 2-5. Sir, so as it stands right now, we're looking at wild card spots. We obviously have the division leaders right now, but as it stands right now in the wild card, in the AFC we have the Bills, which nobody saw coming,
No one really saw that coming.
at 5-1, and we have the Texans at 4-3. And in the NFC, we have the Vikings at 5-2, and the Seahawks at 5-2. Very, very interesting playoff outlook as it stands right now. We want to call it.
To be honest, I think the AFC is kind of locked up already. Like the closest teams to them to compete with them are the Texans at 4-3, and the Raiders at 3-3.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I don't think anyone. Not to say that the Bills are that great of a team, but I don't see the Raiders catching them. To be honest with you, especially with that defense the Bills have, I don't really see it. I mean, the Texans I feel like have the best chance to catch them, but they're just such every week is a different team that's out there.
Yeah.
They haven't put together 2 weeks straight where it's just a dominant performance.
You're right, man, and maybe the Browns could rally together and just win a stretch of games and possibly slide into that wild card spot. But yeah, man, I think you're right. I think the AFC is pretty much locked up with the Bills and Texans at this point.
And then the NFC, we set the Seahawks and the Vikings, but
Yeah,
the Panthers have been playing well, so I don't completely count them out. And I don't completely count out the Eagles because I wouldn't to sit there and say the Eagles or the Cowboys win the division.
mm-hmm.
wouldn't be surprised if whoever comes in second isn't at least competing for a wild card spot. They're both good teams, you know what I mean? They're not going to just die down the minute they lose a division.
No, yeah, I think you're right. I think the NFC this year is more surprising looking at the results than the AFC. The AFC right now is pretty much locked in with the Bills are 5-1. I don't think anybody's really knocking them off unless the Bills go down a complete downhill. And the Texans, I think they have enough talent to really last going to the wild card spot. Unless the Colts, happen to lose their way and they maybe be division leaders. But yeah, I think the NFC is the real problem where you got the Rams still there. You got, the Panthers, like you just said. The Cowboys and Eagles are interchangeable sometimes. So yeah, you don't really know.
Yeah, it's good. It's definitely the AFC. I feel like it's gonna be locked up within the next 2-3 weeks. It's gonna be we're gonna know who the 5 teams are. It's gonna be set. And then the NFC, though, it's really – I could see it coming down to that wild card spot. Even one of the divisions like the NFC East coming down to week 16, week 17. You know what I mean? It's going to be one of those late games that's going to determine the whole thing.
Yeah. And, of course, we're predicting at this point in time. It's week 7. Anything can happen between now and the end of the regular season.
You're right. Anything can happen. One big injury. Look at the Saints. They don't get me wrong. I still think that they're one of the better teams overall, especially if they get Breeze back. I think they're better than the Patriots in general. I think that because look, they're 6-1 without Breeze. They're 6-1 with Teddy Bridgewater. And not to take anything from Bridgewater, he's been playing
great.
He's been playing great, yes, but he's no Breeze. And to be honest, they kind of run a limited offense with Bridgewater. They can't open up the playbook completely like they would if they had Breeze there. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So if you bring out Breeze with that defense, with the weapons that he has, that team is just going to be. They will go toe to toe with the Patriots, in my opinion.
That's interesting. I can't really fault you on that. I think the Saints are really, really good this year. They were good last year. I think they're even better this year.
And you know what? I feel like they do, man. They've been fucked over the last 2 years. One with the Vikings and then with the Rams last year. They've been just completely like they were just there and they just missed it because of either bad play or stupid call. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and a lot of times you see teams that are almost there and they get shortchanged, or they miss out on going farther in the playoffs and they go on a downslide. This team has stuck with it for a while now.
Yeah, and they're getting better, like you said. They've gotten better and better.
Better and better. So before we go any further, please subscribe to this channel. Please leave a comment. Please tell us what you think of the show. We would love to hear your thoughts. We'd love to hear you, in the live chat. Comment live and tell us how you think, what you think of the NFL. And also, please share and tell your friends.
Yep.
We get by off your support, and your support matters to us.
It really does. Really does.
All right, Sergio. So now it's the part of the show where I'm going to spitfire a whole bunch of wins and losses. Ready?
Copy that.
All right. So let's start with the Patriots. Patriots beat the Jets. The Jets 33-0.
Let me just say this: the Jets are not an NFL team right now.
What is context to this? You thought the Jets were going to be going to the playoffs this year.
Thought, honestly, I really thought so. I thought going into this year that they had not obviously a Super Bowl contending team, but at least make some noise, wild card spot. But it really shows how this season just shows how they're just not a team. Basically, this is a team that looks like would compete in college and generally. Like that, all they could do. They can't compete against the normal teams in NFL, and then they go against the best team in football, and they get absolutely destroyed, and they get made fool. And their savior quarterback looks like a freaking toddler out there.
Key note here. We'll go back to the Sam Darnold in a second, but Tom Brady goes 31-45, 249 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. 68% completion. One of the best games from Tom Brady, but when you have that defense behind you,
man,
you really don't need that much.
I was seeing this on I think it was either ESPN or it was Good Morning Football, I forget. And they were saying that they were asking. I didn't really agree with it, but I did
Mm.
like the notion of it. What do you think this defense for the Patriots ranks? Because to me, this is one of the best defenses I've seen personally.
Yeah.
Just so like I haven't seen I obviously you talk about the Steeler defenses with Palomalu,
The Legion of Boom era.
the Legion of Boom era, a little bit of those Ravens defense with Lewis and Ed Reed. Those are some legendary defenses. Is this up there with it?
I think so, man. I think this defense, you know, I think it goes a lot to say where Tom Brady doesn't even have the weapons really. We look at who he has. Rex Burkhead is hurt. Josh Gordon is hurt. Ryan Izzo is hurt. They don't have Gronk like they usually do to Tom Brady to depend on. And yet it's this defense that's really anchoring his team. Tom Brady's not having the best of games. And against with any other team, let's say swapping Tom Brady with the Jets in that defense, it wouldn't last.
No, they wouldn't be 7-0. I would tell you that one.
The performance that Tom Brady's having with any other team would be subpar at best. But with this defense back behind him, it makes it so much easier to get a win.
I agree. I completely agree because if you look at it, like you said, on any other team, this guy's he would be subpar. And then on top of that, look they wouldn't be 7-0, obviously. Would they even be contending? Because, like you said, Tom Brady hasn't been playing as a Tom Brady we know. Now, is this because he's older? Age is catching up. The undefeated thing in all sports is Father Time.
I don't think that.
But
I think it's the weapons he has.
That has part of it to do with it. But you always with Tom Brady, especially because of how old he is now, especially he's 42. Obviously that's not old, but in sports it's freaking ancient.
Yeah.
It starts to creep in the back of your mind that you're like, oh, this could be he's getting older.
Yeah.
The notion just starts to come in there, and you're like, maybe he doesn't have the best weapons out there. Yeah, his top receiver right now, I think is Dorsett.
Yeah.
So he's not obviously throwing in no Randy Moss. He's not throwing into Gronk. He's not doing it anymore. But you're also thinking, man, he's 42. He's not moving the same way. You start thinking, is this also because he's getting older? Which, again, I agree with you. I don't think it is. I think it is mostly that his receivers aren't the best in the world.
No, not at all. They're good.
They're good. But it just is something to think about. Like, if this does continue, so say he does get Gordon back and he gets all his playmakers back and he's still doing this, you start to think it's starting to seem like he's at the tail end of his career.
Well, I think that's not that you could debate that, but it's not out the question that maybe age is there. But I think it's more like I said, the weapons. And speaking on that, they traded. They got I think it was as recent as yesterday or today.
Oh, they got what's his McCoy from the Falcons.
Atlanta. Yeah, Mohamed
Sanu.
Yeah, for a second round pick.
Yeah, so, and Niners got Sanders too. It was two big trades today.
Yeah, and if Ryan Izzo comes back healthy, Josh Gordon comes back healthy, Rex Burkhead, he has a foot issue, he comes back healthy with Mohamed Sanu, I think that offense looks great again.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think this is what they wanted with this Sanu. It's kind of what their way of replacing Brown. Obviously, not to Brown's extent and skill level, but they wanted those two basically number one, number two receivers, and Gordon and Sanu on each side. That's what they want to do with Brown, obviously.
Well, even more so, even past that, they actually apparently they wanted Sanu in the draft. They wanted Sanu in the draft. Yeah, they wanted Sanu in the draft, and Atlanta didn't want to trade for him. And it got to a point now where Atlanta's like, oh well, we're pretty much just planning for the future. And the Patriots are looking more towards what they're gonna do to get to the playoffs and win the Super Bowl again. So that's how the trade came about.
Oh man, it's gonna be such a bad time if you have to watch another Patriots Super Bowl, man.
I love it, but
I wouldn't. I don't want to go through that again, man. I hear enough from Boston fans. I don't want to hear another reason for them to start talking shit again.
But yeah, and who knows if this is it? Maybe they find a couple more pieces out there on the trade block that they could say, okay, we have a good defense. We need to shore up our offense a little bit more. Let's get a tight end. Let's get So who knows?
That's what scares me, man. When Belichick makes a trade and he gets someone, he's going to be so good because the guy is just ingenious when it comes to picking the right players for his scheme and then getting the best out of that player.
Yeah.
So like I could literally trade him freaking anyone on our offensive line or anyone on our defense, and if they go to the Patriots, these guys are going to be the greatest defensive player to ever live. Why? Because Belichick knows how to work these guys to the point where they're just giving the all every play, and it's so scary because I don't see it ending anytime soon.
It's a great combination between Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. And yeah, I'm not sure if this is the end. I think they may get a couple more pieces to help this offense out because we are getting to the point where you start planning out and seeing who's going to be in the playoffs or who's going to go farther in the Super Bowl, but get to a Super Bowl, might I say. So yeah, I think Mohamed Sanu is a great pickup. It helps Tom Brady out, and I'm watching to see how Tom Brady performs in the next couple of games.
Yeah, I think like we said that he wasn't having the weapons to make these plays or to even pad his stats in general.
Yep.
Having Sanu now kind of takes that away.
Yep.
Now he has someone to throw it to. Mind you, it's just one more person. There's still 10 other guys on the field that have to do their job. But it's one extra person that he could trust that if he throws it up to them, they're most likely going to come down with it.
And with that offensive line and with that defense helping out against Tom Brady, more cushion. I like it. I like the pickup.
I do too.
Speaking of, let's talk about Sam Darnold. I was gonna have a great segue. I totally lost the joke that I had in my mind. But speaking of Sam Darnold, who's seeing dead people, there we go.
Oh my god, that was the dumbest shit I ever heard, man. He goes, "I'm seeing ghosts." What?
It's Halloween time. Sam Darnold. That defense is so bad it makes Sam Darnold see dead people, man.
Bro, honestly. And to be honest, I believe him. The way he played and the shit he was throwing to, I completely believe he was seeing ghosts.
Yeah, man.
What? Like that one pass where he literally just lobbed it up, and I think it was Gilmore. All Gilmore did was turn around, run backwards, and go like this, and he caught the ball. There was literally not a jet within about 20 miles of this guy, and Donald just throwing the ball up. I was wondering. I was like, how? Who are you seeing there? And he goes, "I'm seeing ghosts." I'm like, okay, now it makes sense. It's making sense now.
He sees dead people,
bro. This guy's tripping. I think it was more than just mono he had, bro. He's definitely.
Oh my god. Oh god. Okay, so Sam Darnold goes 11 for 32, 86 yards, 4 interceptions, 34% completion. An absolute disastrous game for Sam Darnold, coming off that Cowboys win that we talked about in our previous episodes. Yeah, man, I don't know what to say about Sam Darnold. He didn't look like himself. The Patriots defense are elite. It made Sam Darnold look really, really bad, especially the seeing ghost comment looks even worse. Which you feel bad for him a little bit. He's still a young quarterback, but yeah, man, it was an absolute disastrous game.
Just saying, Daniel Jones had better stats against the Patriots than Darnold did.
I agree.
Just throwing that out there for all the people that said Darnold's better. Just throwing that little stat out there. He only had 3 intos. Darnold had 4. But we don't talk about it.
But even to that extent, like Sam Darnold, I mean, say what you want about Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones wasn't shook up. And at least he didn't look shook up in the game. Sam Darnold, he was absolutely
scared because he was seeing ghosts
and frozen.
What would you do if you were seeing ghosts, bro? You'd be scared shitless too.
I wouldn't say it was the rushing of the defense from the Patriots. There was cornerbacks, Stephen Gilmore, like we said before. Every pass that Sam Darnold was trying to throw, they pretty much knew where it was going ahead of time. I think there was one play where Sam Darnold was going to pass the ball to Le'Veon Bell.
And he got killed. I know which one you're talking about, yep.
Before Le'Veon Bell can even catch the ball, even turn around, Stephen Gilmore is right there, right next to him.
Yep, and he got killed, bro. Gilmore put the craziest hit on him.
It was an absolute disaster for the Jets to where honestly, it's crazy to think that this was a team that you thought was going to be in the playoffs.
But do you blame me? Do you blame me going into the
That's hard.
season? Going into the season, seeing how this team was with the new acquisitions, Darnold another year, they got Bell, the defense got a defensive coordinator who I thought was going to be really good, and I still think that he's only been coaching 6 games. I'm not, huh?
Talking about head coach?
No, defensive coordinator.
Okay.
I thought he was going to be good. Obviously, 6 games in, I'm not going to kill the guy for just 6 games. He lost Mosley for a couple games. Jamal Adams is having a phenomenal year in general, so he's doing some things good. My thing to you is, and obviously going into the year, I did think that they were going to be at least a wild card contender, but obviously I'm completely wrong. My question to you is, do you fire Gase? Because this is bad. This is really bad.
Well, people had questions about Gase going into the season. Like he's had a horrible track record when it comes to being a head coach, to where it's like, granted he takes over from Todd Bowles.
I think Todd Bowles was better so far off what I've seen from Gase.
Yeah, absolutely. Todd Bowles was, it was time to go. It was time to make a transition, not really to go, but time to make a transition from Todd Bowles. He tried it, has not worked out. Adam Gase has been a horrible head coach so far in leading his team. I think it's also with the weapons they have. They really have. Who's the wide receiver? Who's the best? Robbie Anderson.
Robbie Anderson.
That's your best wide receiver in that team.
I think their number one option is either Anderson or Demaryius Thomas.
Either way, but Demaryius Thomas was, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't that a trade?
Yeah, going into the season it was Robbie Anderson, but then with the trade now, I think it's Demaryius Thompson and Robbie Anderson are his 1-2s.
Who's with the Patriots at one point?
Yeah.
But yeah, man, this team, what we talked about potentially, being a playoff contender, does not look like that. Sam Darnold, he regressed from last season to this season. With he had the incident which you really can't control. Well, you can, but either way, it's just a disaster. It's a disaster.
So, and I as a Giants fan, I don't hate the Jets. Like as a Yankee fan, I hate the Mets. As a Knicks fan, I hate the Nets. As a Giants fan, I don't hate the Jets because they really haven't done anything to me, and they've always been a 2-win team every year, basically.
Yeah.
So they're irrelevant. But as Donald, I did think was going to have a really good year this year. I was very optimistic about how he was going to be, and like you said, this is just at this point you might as well just tank the rest of the year and hope the Dolphins win a game so you could compete for the number 1 seed in the number 1 draft pick.
Yeah, man, and again, I think the seeing ghost comment that just happens to air and I think that hurts Sam Darnold just a little bit. I don't think it's a big target on Sam Darnold and makes lose his confidence a little bit, but it definitely does hurt.
I'll tell you this much, especially if he was any other place, it wouldn't be. But because he's in New York and it's basically the media capital of the world.
Yeah.
What he's going to show us does he have balls? He said something stupid. He's going to get attacked for it. They're going to make fun of him on all the newspapers. They're going to make fun of him until Sunday, basically. They're probably going to make fun of him during Sunday's game. Is he going to be a bitch and just basically curl up in a ball, or is he just going to be like, screw it, I fucked up. I said something stupid. I'm going to go out there and just play football.
Well, that's all you really can do. That's all you really can do, especially after this loss. He had a great comeback when being the Cowboys, like we said before. But this is the comeback to reality moment, and they're just not there. They're not even a wild card team, and you can always look for next season. But I think a lot of questions are going to be asked about, okay, what other weapons are we going to put to this team? Who can we get from free agency? And is this head coach a long-term option?
I don't think so, man.
You got to ask those questions.
I wouldn't be surprised if they bring him back next year because you rarely see a coach get fired after 1 year. Right. They usually let him do 2 years, and if it's consecutive 2 years, they fire him. And I think I don't even think he gets to the 2-year mark. I wouldn't be surprised if next year, after maybe 4 or 5 games, if they get off to a bad start, they just fire him, promote the defensive coordinator as interim, and play out the rest of the year, basically.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be something to watch out for. But yeah, the Patriots beat the Jets 33-0. I did not think we were gonna spend this much time on this particular topic. So let's move on. Which is good though. We got a little bit more in depth about Tom Brady and Sam Darnold to a degree and what his future looks like. Okay. Ravens beat the Seahawks 30-16. Lamar Jackson, 45% completion, 9 of 20, 143 yards. He did have one rushing touchdown. Russell Wilson was 20 for 41, 241 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He was 48% as well. This game was pretty much just all on defense.
But I mean, Lamar Jackson also had over 100 rushing yards too. I think he was like the first player I think in 10 years, 15 years to have done back-to-back games with 100 rushing, 100 passing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not a terrible game by Lamar Jackson, but it's not what you want.
It's not his best game, yeah. I agree.
Yeah. And I don't really get the MVP talk at this point from Lamar Jackson.
He's come back to earth. He really has. He wasn't on that astronomical what's it called? A couple of games he had where he was dropping 2-2 every game basically.
Yeah, I see a lot of people saying that Lamar Jackson is a candidate for MVP this year. I don't really see it. I think it's only maybe a handful of people you can think of. Aaron Rodgers has one.
McCaffrey has two.
Potentially when I look at it, I think Patrick Mahomes, if he gets together, he can probably be.
I think he's going to miss too much time.
Which we're going to talk about later on. Deshaun Watson.
I could see him. Yeah, I could see him.
I think Deshaun Watson's having a better year than Lamar Jackson.
I agree, but they do take into account also records, which as much as I don't think is the best tell of the player, but they do take that into account of how good the team in general has done.
Well, listen, man, I think the Texans, again, like we said before, the Texans are in that wild card spot, and if the Colts slip up even a little bit, the Texans are right back in there.
You're right.
But yeah, it was more of a defensive game. Marcus Peters had an interception, running back for a touchdown, which was good. And the Seahawks, it just seemed like they really couldn't get the ball out of Russell Wilson's hand and make a play.
No, they struggled with it. But it was bound to happen because they were just playing really well. I felt like they were maybe not this week, but I did think that eventually they were going to have a stumbling game because they were just playing really well. I thought they were playing. Yeah. I thought for a little bit they were playing a little bit above what they should be doing. I think they were kind of reaching a little bit, but not to say I still think they should make the playoffs. I just don't see them as a contender in general. The Seahawks aren't a scary team.
Like that was Russell Wilson's first interception of the year.
Yeah,
which is good.
Yeah, that's how good he's been playing too.
Yeah. Which again, if you want to put conversations of MVPs, he deserves to be in that kind of.
He deserves. Yeah, he definitely deserves to be in that conversation.
But the Ravens beat the Seahawks. Good win for the Ravens against the Seahawks team who have been playing really, really well. And we'll see what Russell Wilson and that team does next time. I still think that team. You may not think that they're dangerous. Get it? But I still think that team could make some noise in playoffs.
Boo.
You don't like that dangerous? Listen, I'm a little off today. Me and my entire family is sick right now. Damn near couldn't get out of bed today, but I'm still here.
That shouldn't affect your comedic input.
My timing is a little off, as you can see. The Saints beat the Bears 36-25. Terry Bridgewater is doing very well, stepping in for Drew Brees. 23 of 38, 281 yards, 2 touchdowns, 60% from completion. Latavius Murray, 27 carries, 119 yards, 2 touchdowns. I think this Saints team, like we said before, is looking dangerous and look potential Super Bowl contenders.
They really are. I mean, Teddy Bridgewater is doing exactly what you're asking for him to do.
Yeah.
He hit what 200 something yards, 2 touchdowns.
281.
You're not asking for much more than that. That's the tip of what you're like. He gives you that, you got to win a game.
Took
If
care of the
he,
ball too.
yeah, exactly. Like if he's playing that well and you lose, you got to really evaluate your defense at that point because he's playing the best he's going to be playing for a little bit now. He's not going to give you the 400 yards. He's not going to give you those crazy 4 or 5 touchdowns a game. That's just not how he plays. That's not how good he is. But he's playing well and he's doing enough for the team to be in contention to win the game. It's just the defense has to keep stepping up, and it has been. Defense has been playing very well, and it's carrying. Not to say it's carrying the brunt of the load, but they did step up ever since Breeze went down, and Bridgewater is just doing enough for them to win, which is all you can ask for.
Yeah, I think you can give Terry Bridgewater his flowers a little bit. We talk about, this is a guy that bounced from team to team to team, had a really, really tough start in places where he went and he just lost oppositions. And now you see Terry Bridgewater with the Saints and actually doing pretty well.
Yep, yeah, really is. And it's good. It's good to see, especially with all the injuries he had, the chance that he was never going to play football again to come back and he's actually doing well with the Saints. It's a good sight to see.
Yeah, it definitely is. And one wonders, does he find himself, going to another team and being a starter?
I would. You know what I feel like he's in right now? He's in that Nick Foles situation. Is exactly what it is. A guy that as a backup is playing really well, and he only plays when the starter gets injured. Just so happens like Nick Foles, Carson Wentz got injured for a long time. Breeze is down for at least 2-3 more weeks. So we're gonna see Bridgewater. Do I think he's starter material?
He can be.
It really depends on the scheme too. He has to go to the proper scheme. It's not like one of those quarterbacks. It's not like Mahomes, Breeze, Brady.
No, of course not.
That you can throw them on any team and they're gonna play well no matter what. He's not one of those quarterbacks. He needs a proper scheme. And it just so happens that the Saints readjusted their schemes to work for him, and it's working well. If he goes to the right team with the right quarterbacks coach, with the right head coach to create the game plan around his skills.
Yeah.
I could see him being, 11 to like 16 ranked, probably closer to 16-ish. And if you're ranking quarterbacks at his best, I could definitely probably see him being there. But like I said, like how you agreed with, it really depends on the scheme he goes to if he does decide to do that.
But just looking at, and this again, it's hard to really gauge with two different teams and two different systems, two different schemes. I think Terry Bridgewater is just as good as Josh Allen. I think Terry Bridgewater is just as good as Sam Darnold or
You want to know why I give Allen the edge?
Why?
He has a better arm. He could throw those deep passes with. It may not be the most accurate ball in the world, but he's been proving his accuracy so far. Week by week, it's improving. And I think that little edge where with Bridgewater, you're not really trying to run plays where it's a 40-yard bomb, You're with Bridgewater, you're trying to get 15-yard passes, 10-yard passes, get it to Kamara, get it to Thomas early, let them make the plays. That's what you're trying to do. Whereas with Allen, you just tell them to go as far out as they possibly can, and he's just going to throw it out there. You know what I mean? So I give it to Allen a little bit, but I guess I do think that Bridgewater is in the same class. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Mitch Trubisky, who's been struggling this year, even playing a game really, he was hurt he was sidelined for a couple of games. 34-54, 251 yards, 2 touchdowns, 62% completion. This Bears team is not where you thought it would be, particularly coming off of last year, which is interesting to see. They're 3-3 in the NFC North. They still got the Packers and the Vikings to deal with to even get into the wild card position. So yeah, I don't see the Bears making a run for playoffs.
I thought that this team was this team so far has been a little bit of a not depressing, but it's just been unsatisfying season with them because I thought that with this defense They were going to like last year. The reason they got so far and they were so competitive, and yeah, they lost in the first round, but they shouldn't have lost in the first round. And I did think that if they got past that first round, they had a chance to make to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It was because of their defense. That defense was just so good. It was just so. It literally impeded its will on everyone on every offense. It was such a scary defense. Now not to say the defense has gone extremely worse. It obviously digressed a little bit, but Trubisky just looks lost in some games.
Yeah, and it's tough, man. It's tough because he's still a young quarterback. Is he overrated? I don't think so. I think it's just a bad year. I see a lot of people talking about even Mr. Trubisky maybe being overrated, and that he shouldn't have been picked the highest he's been. I think he's still a good quarterback.
I think I don't want to. Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think he's. I don't want to say he's overrated. I think it's still a little too early to say that, but yeah. I do think that this year was kind of a telling year for us. This was his third, fourth year in the season, in the NFL. I mean, yeah. And it was kind of getting to the point where, all right, we know your defense is good. We know you have some weapons out there that you could use.
Yeah.
You've been playing on and off every week, every other week. You have really good games. You have really, really good games, and then you have some games where you just lost. This year was kind of like, all right, either you're going to be the player that is very inconsistent, or you're going to figure it out. And it's starting to show that he's becoming an inconsistent player.
How much of that would you put on the injury? You know what I mean?
I agree. Yeah, I definitely agree that it's something you got to take into consideration. That's why I say it's still a little too early to say it.
Yeah.
But even so, there's just some games that it's just like it doesn't seem like he knows what's going on the field. There's some games that me and you could be looking at the TV and we could see, okay, first option's covered, second option's covered. Best chance is probably either dump it off to the running back in front of you or say throw it to the curl route to the right on your third option. Say that's it. That's what we would see, And obviously we have a better view. We get the above
of course.
Above field, so we see everything.
Yeah.
But with him, it just seems like he sees the first option, he sees the second option, and then he goes right back to the first option and makes the bad throw on the covered guy. It doesn't look like he's going through all his progressions. And that's what I'm saying. He's becoming very inconsistent because there is games where he's throwing dimes left and right.
Yeah.
He's making some nice plays. He's escaping the pocket correctly. He's doing everything right. But then there's just games and you're just like, what the hell happened?
Yeah, it's definitely interesting to see. Again, last year he looked phenomenal. He looked like he could be one of those quarterbacks of the next generation that look really, really good. And step up this year, but it hasn't happened.
I agree. He hasn't stepped up at all, which is a little depressing because I did think that they were going to be a better team. I was very hoping that they would be competing this year. I really did think they were going to make some noise this year.
Moving on, the 49ers beat the Washington 9-0. This game was pretty much all defense, really. The defense did a good job getting to Washington. This Washington team is I don't know where to start with this team. This team needs to go through a whole rechange, a repackage, go into all season, figure things out, tank the rest of the season and try to figure out where to go from here.
I'll tell you this much though, this defense played well.
Yeah,
the defense played very well.
So. It was a defensive game.
It was, and I was talking to a couple of my friends. We were watching this game on Sunday at the bar, and they were saying that this says a lot about the Niners. That if their defense that they're playing is playing well, they're going to struggle. And I'm like, no, this doesn't really say anything because they're 5-0. This is the one team I could ask anyone, and even Niners fans, you could ask them.
Yeah.
No one thought they were going to be 5-0 going into this year and going into this game. I mean, So they were kind of their offense was playing well. It wasn't playing out of this world. It wasn't playing extremely well, but it was playing well enough that they could be 5-0. They were kind of due for a game where their offense was non-existent, and it was and it really showed what made this team 5-0. this was such a highlight to how good this defense is. I think this is a resurgence of Richard Sherman too.
Yes, I agree, 100%. I think Richard Sherman. I questioned, the 49ers pick of Richard Sherman. I was like, Richard Sherman is good, but I don't know what he can really do for you on the team. Boy, was I wrong. Richard Sherman looks rejuvenated. He looks like he's having the best time of his life right now with this 49ers team, and it's good to see. He really is a good cornerback.
Again, this is another player I was never a big fan of. Never really liked him. I thought his cocky arrogance was an annoyance because I didn't think that he was an outstanding player. I thought, he was. I thought, especially at the time with the Legion of Boom, I thought he was kind of built around the Legion of Boom. He was kind of just isolated there and wasn't really a factor in my opinion.
Mm.
I'm wrong, to be honest with you. His time with the Niners showing that this guy could play because now it's not, oh, you're just going to stay on that side and don't worry about the center, don't worry about the middle, don't worry about anything else, just stay to your side. Now he has to kind of play man sometimes. Now he has to switch off from man and zone. And it's showing that the guy can play anywhere he goes, basically. He's playing very well, and it's impressive to see and how good overall this Niner defense really is. It's just, mind you, yes, the Redskins. I understand that I could probably score on the Redskins. It's not that hard.
Mm-hmm.
But still, it's an NFL team, and they came out there and they did what they had to do. They're 6-0 at the end of the day.
Speaking of which, do you remember Josh Norman?
Yes. Oh, he's such a joke. He's a mini Richard Sherman, but worse.
There was a point in time where Josh Norman was going to surpass Richard Sherman as the best cornerback in the league. And it was a time where he actually was one of the best quarterbacks.
No, I never thought that.
One of.
No, I didn't even think that either.
Really?
Well, I know why, because I remember this. This whole conversation was going around the time that when we had OBJ, I think his first year or his second year, I forget which one. And then that next week we faced who was he on? Who the hell was he on? Anyway, the team before he was on the Redskins. I think it was the Panthers. Yeah, I think it was the Panthers that he was on. And we faced him. And OBJ just dropped up. I think it was like 140 yards with the touchdown on him and was burning the shit at him. And ever since then, I'm like, all that talk about Norman's bullshit. He's an average cornerback just on a really good defense. And he just has to do his part, and the other team will pick up his slack. That's what I thought, and it's showing now. He's on a shitty defense, and he's playing like dog shit.
We gotta one day get a shirt of just you saying it's all dog shit. But by next year we have to have an actual shirt from this channel, just saying it's all dog shit by Sergio Marquez. But yeah, man, I can't disagree with you. I can't disagree with anything you said. The biggest takeaway from this game is the offense, and they got Emmanuel Sanders, like we said, from the Broncos. Now they got Marquise Goodwin with the team, George Kittle, Tevin Coleman with Emmanuel Sanders. I think it's going to be a good offense. What say you?
I do think Sanders is a
great pickup.
A big pickup, man. I think because Kittle as your tight end, everyone facing the the Niners. When it came to passing, everyone probably went in there saying, "Listen, anyone else could beat us but Kittle. We don't want Kittle beating us. He's probably arguably the best tight end in football right now." And now you have Sanders. So like, oh yeah, we don't want Kittle beating us, but Sanders could easily drop 120, 130 yards on him. No problem. This is going to really help Garoppolo. I think he's going to improve so much with this other option out there now.
Yeah, and I think this is a great job by the office deciding to go get a trade for Emmanuel Sanders, which is going to help this offense out, especially if we're seeing them right now. I think at 6-0, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yep.
At 6-0, who have potential to go to the playoffs this year, they can make a run. With this defense, they can make a run.
Absolutely. I mean, realistically, who on the NFC can you see if the Niners are firing on all cylinders? The only team in the NFC that could upset them is the Saints. Is the
Packers.
Saints. Packers. Yeah, you're right. The Packers as well. Yep. Those are the only two, though.
I think the Seahawks on a good on.
Mm,
I think the Seahawks can do it. It's gonna
oh,
be it's gonna be a struggle, but I think they can, and I think the Vikings can. Honestly,
the Vikings, I don't think so at all. The Seahawks, uh, it really depends on how they can handle this defense of the Niners. I think Rodgers can. I think Rodgers could break down this defense. I think Breeze could break down this defense. Not to take anything from Russell Wilson. It's just I don't think he has the weapons to break down this defense. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
Rodgers,
I like Tyler Lockett. I like
I
deep
do,
stuff. Yeah,
but
you're right.
Lockett as your number one option against this defense
Yeah.
isn't really going to do it. Like Breeze has Thomas to throw to. Rodgers has Devontae Adams to throw it to. They have true number one receivers out there to help break down this defense. The Seahawks don't really. So I wouldn't really say the Seahawks. I agree with you with the Packers and the Saints. I think those are the two teams that if everything's going right for the Niners, are the two teams that can stop them.
One thing I will say about the Russell Wilson and that Seahawks team is the time management. I think when it comes down to time management against the 49ers, that could be a detriment.
I agree. I definitely agree.
It don't need to be long throws down the field. It could be short passes to just chip away at the time and chip away at that defense.
I agree. If they go about it that way,
the best thing to do, get the ball out your hand fast enough and do short passes.
I agree. If they go about it that way, they definitely make it a very interesting game.
Yeah. The Colts beat the Texans 30-23. Jacoby Brissett is 26-39, 326 yards, 4 touchdowns. Jacoby Brissett is having a great season, replacing Andrew Luck, which we thought was going to be the end of this Colts team.
Really did.
But he's done a great job.
Surprisingly, to be honest, I did not really think that this was going to be. I thought not to say that they were done because I do think that the team in general is a good team, but I didn't think they were going to be in first place at all.
No.
And I going into this week, I didn't think they were going to beat the Texans. I thought the Texans overall was a better team.
That offensive line held up. I don't think Brissett got sacked once in the game.
No, he didn't,
which is great.
Wow.
Yeah, but that's again, we talk about if Andrew Luck was still with this team with that offensive line, if he was healthy, what that team could have been. And I think Jacoby Brissett is doing a great job filling in. I think he's done a great job.
Man. If they were
more than you would have expected.
Yes. And if, like you said, if I could only imagine what Luck, if Luck was here.
Yeah.
Man, if Luck was here, this is a team on the caliber of the Saints.
I agree.
That's how good.
Comparison.
That's how good Luck is, and it hurts to see this happen because you're talking about probably the most stand-up guy in football in Luck.
Yeah.
And every year he was getting destroyed, he was getting beaten up, and they never put a overall great team around him. And now they finally had
that great team.
Yeah, and it's over. Yeah, it just really sucks to see that because, this could have been the year. I would not have been surprised if you were to tell me that the Colts won it all this year. I would not be surprised at all. But now without Luck, it's like, oh man, what if he stayed? It could have been an amazing team.
I agree, man. I agree. But Jacoby Brissett, give him his flowers, man. He is filling in for Andrew Luck, and he's done a great job with his team. You can't take away from him.
You're right. You can't. He's filling his shoes as best he can. Obviously he's not going to do it to the extent of Luck. He's not going to ever replicate what Luck could do, but he's playing really good football for what we know of Jacoby Brissett. What we've seen in the past or what he could do. He stepped it up. He's been playing good football.
I agree. Titans beat the Chargers 23-20. Not much to talk about really there. Marcus Mariota. Not really much to talk about there. The Chargers are just not having the season you would think they would have. Raiders lose to the Packers 42-24. Not much to talk about there. Aaron Rodgers goes 25-31, 429 yards, 5 touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown. Had a great game. I didn't think Derek Carr was bad. I just think that some of the decision making was not as good. Like there was, for instance, there was one play where they're like at the 4-yard mark on the Packers side of the field to be ready to get a touchdown, and there was a play where instead of going out of bounds, he decides to try to go for the end zone, and he fumbles the ball trying to stretch the ball out of towards the
I meant to ask you this on
Sorry.
Sunday too.
Yeah.
I meant to ask you this on Sunday. What's his problem with that? Because this isn't the first time he's done this.
I don't know. I think it's more or less him trying not playing smart. And look at comparisons in that game. Look at Aaron Rodgers, how he's massively, going about doing. And I think the Raiders had a great chance. They were doing good.
You guys weren't playing bad for at least the first half.
Yeah, and then it's got to a point where one, that defense could have stopped the Packers. That's one. But two, Derek Carr, as great of a quarterback, he had just made bad decisions like the fumble. It was not necessary. You're at the
one. You're at the one.
You're at the one. Sorry, I'm sick and my throat.
No, I think you were even closer to that. I think you were at the half-yard line. You could have easily just stepped out, run the ball in.
If you would have stepped out of bounds and then had Josh Jacobs run the ball in, who got hurt during the game, but he came back, you would have had him run the ball in at the 1-yard line. That's a touchdown. Yeah. Instead, you fumble the ball. Aaron Rodgers get the ball right back, and they score on the next drive.
But I don't want to say,
it was a masterful game. Sorry to cut you off. It was a masterful game by Jon Gruden. Jon Gruden was doing a great job. Making plays, helping Derek Carr get the ball out of his hands early and fast. I thought the Darren Waller connection is good. I think that's the one positive your Raiders fan can take away from this is that Darren Waller is somebody you can invest in for a long term. He's like a great tight end.
I'll tell you this one. This is the best game Gruden has coached this year.
Absolutely.
The score doesn't really explain how good he was coaching. Like you said, it was really just on Derek Carr.
Yeah.
Gruden put out proper play after play after play. He was calling the right plays.
Yeah.
Carr just didn't make the right decisions on those plays. And obviously losing Josh Jacobs, big hit. He's arguably your best offensive player. But overall, just from looking at how Gruden done it, because every week Gruden has been another one who hasn't been really consistent when it comes to play calling every week. He's been improving it's been less mistakes as the weeks gone by. But this game, he really showed that he knows what he's doing out there, and it's just unfortunate. Again, even if everything went right, do I think you beat Aaron Rodgers? The guy was it was a legendary game for Rodgers, but.
It would have helped.
It would have helped. It would have been a lot closer game, in my opinion, if Derek Carr played better, because everything was there for them. You guys had the opportunities.
And here's my thing: it wasn't like Aaron Rodgers. Yes, he did what we want with this defense, but it was off the offense from Derek Carr that led to it. Yeah. It was more or less Derek Carr's decisions, like the fumble or like the interceptions, that pretty much put Aaron Rodgers in positions to not really have to do that much at all.
Put it like this: you gave him 14 extra points, basically.
Yeah.
So realistically, it should have been a 4-point game, because if you take away the stupid interception that he should never had and that stupid fumble, two of them that both ended up in a touchdown, it would have realistically been a 4-point game. They would have scored 28 points. You take away the 14 points.
And before we go off on, I don't want to spend too much time talking about the Raiders, but just the optimism for me as a Raiders fan looking at this. I'm looking at next season. I'm like, well, even now they're not that far off, and from possibly getting a wild card spot. But I'm looking at this offense. The offense is not bad.
No.
Darren Waller is somebody that I'm looking at. He's a good tight end. I think he could still improve more, but he's definitely big time for this team. Josh Jacobs is good. I'm really high on Keelan Doss. I like this offense, and the defense just needs some work. But overall, if you're a Raiders fan, you look at next year as just building off what you have now.
If Gruden continues to coach like this, and Carr continues, not continues, but he learns to cut down the mistakes.
Yes.
The wild card is definitely a chance for you guys.
And manage the time too. Like Derek Carr has times where you don't really need to do the plays that you're doing. You don't need to run, like I said, you don't need to run in for a touchdown. You're at the one.
Because like realistically, the Bills, they're not gonna go 14-1. They're gonna lose some games. You're 2 games behind them, so yeah, 2 games. It may not seem a lot, but in football, 2 games is a lot because there's only so many games to play, and we're almost at the halfway point.
Yeah.
So, 2 games is a lot, but they're gonna lose some games. They're bound to lose some games. If you cut down these mistakes and Gruden continues to coach the way he is, you can catch them. And I would not be surprised if you do. In the wild card, it may come down to week 16, week 17, even week 15 to determine who gets it.
I agree. The Vikings beat the Lions 42-30. I think this Lions teams are better than what their record shows. I think anybody that plays the Lions is going to go into a tough out. The Vikings are just a better team.
I agree. I do think that they were a better team.
Marvin Jones, 4 touchdowns.
That's impressive day too.
Matthew Stafford was 30 for 45, 364 yards. 4 touchdowns, like we said. 1 interception. But again, this Lions team is better than what the record shows. And I think if they could build off this going into next season, I think we got something to work with here.
I agree.
And then again, just shouts to the Vikings a little bit. Kirk Cousins, 24-34, 337 yards, 4 touchdowns. He's getting back to his groove.
Diggs had a good game too. Diggs had 140 yards. It was a good showing, very good showing.
Bills beat Dolphins 31-21. Josh Allen was 16-26, 202 yards, 2 touchdowns, 61% completion, QPR of 1,100. Defense got to the quarterback 6 times.
No surprise there.
Ryan Fitzpatrick. Give credit to Ryan Fitzpatrick. He tried to do the best he can. You're rushing for a touchdown. 23 of 35, 282 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 65% completion.
No surprise there. I mean, it's the Dolphins. I would be surprised if they win a game this year. Maybe against the Jets. Maybe.
That's gonna be a That's interesting. Who tries to win? Who tries to lose?
At that point, they're probably gonna start putting in fans. I just hope they lose.
And you might have a better turnout. And lastly, doing a quick, which we tried to do quick. Chiefs beat the Broncos 30-6. Patrick Mahomes out with a knee injury. They're saying they may be out between 2 to 3 weeks. Which is not good.
That's why I think he shouldn't be a MVP candidate, because it could be more than 2 or 3 weeks. You're saying at best it's 2 or 3 weeks. If he misses too much time, you can't put him in the conversation.
No, yeah, I agree. And this also questions what the Chiefs can do in this all season. I think they can try get into the playoffs. It's just if they get Patrick Mahomes back, what can they really do?
Quote me. What day is it? What day is it? The 22nd of October. You're going to start seeing the dying of the mobile quarterbacks. You're going to start seeing more pocket passes coming out of college. Why? Because look at this. This is another player who's a mobile quarterback getting injured. You had RG3. You had Cam Newton. You have Patrick Mahomes. It's so hard to be a mobile quarterback in the NFL now and do it long term. Look at the 2 guys who've done it for years. Eli Manning and Tom Brady. Are they anywhere near mobile?
No, but then you also have Drew Brees. And granted, Drew Brees is out with an injury, but Drew Brees is and Aaron Rodgers too.
Yes, but look at Drew Brees. He's developed. He started off more as a more mobile quarterback than anybody else. Not extremely mobile, not like how nowadays you have the Wilsons and the Mahomes. But he was a mobile quarterback for his time when he came into the league. Right. But look how he developed it. He started to learn more and more, and now he's not really that mobile quarterback that he was. Now he's a pocket passer who could escape the pocket. That's basically what it is. Yeah. He rarely runs past the line of scrimmage.
So what you're saying is you're gonna see a lot of quarterbacks coming out of college. It's gonna be more pocket oriented, and they also can move out of the pocket.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
just, yeah. Gotcha.
I feel like that's what these teams are going to look for, because think about it. Why would you want to get a guy for 3-4 years with the risk of he even playing, because he's always getting hit. You're going to want a guy that he may not be as good, but he's still a good quarterback who's going to be there 10 years, because
Baker Mayfield's another one. I just thought about it.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
these guys, they're great players. Don't get me wrong. I'm not taking none of them away from that. But it's unfortunate that they can't last as long. And even if they do last as long, you see their production dwindle because they've been getting hit over and over and over again. And it takes a serious toll on your body.
Mm. Yeah, man. This and Matt Moore came into the game. He was 10 for 19, 117 yards, 1 touchdown. This Chiefs win was basically predicated off their defense for the most part. It begs the question: what kind of Patrick Mahomes is going to get when he comes back?
Man, yeah, it really these next 2 weeks kind of determine what we're going to see from the Chiefs in the end of the year. Mahomes is eventually going to come back, but no one. His first week back, he's not going to be. I don't think he's going to be the same. He's going to need some time to readjust. Especially coming off an injury to your legs and you're a mobile quarterback, you're going to be a little hesitant to do all these just run upfield. You're going to be a little bit more hesitant. You're going to probably stay an extra second in the pocket just to see if you could get the ball out. So it might take some time to adjust. But I still think that they're a Super Bowl contender team if Mahomes comes back. He plays well. I still think that overall they have just too many weapons in the offense to be stopped. Especially when they get Kareem Hunt. I think he comes back after this week. I think this Sunday is his first game allowed back, or the Sunday after, something like that. But I think that they're going to be a really good team regardless. I think Andy Reid, obviously, he's one of the best coaches in football. He knows what he's doing. He's not an idiot. He knows how to get the job done. It just, if they want to play in the Super Bowl or even compete for a Super Bowl spot, they need Mahomes. And if he keeps getting injured, man, this team's going to end up probably getting bounced in the first round.
Yeah, and then before we go off the topic, my thing with Mahomes and in the playoffs, so predicting that is I don't see the teams that he's going to go up against, let's say the Patriots, let's say the 40, let's say these other teams in the AFC. I don't see how they don't get to Patrick Mahomes, the Colts, if they were to go to it. The Ravens are still a good defensive team. Like, they're gonna have a hard time protecting Mahomes.
Yeah, they are.
Hurt.
They're absolutely right.
And he was hurt from the first game with the Jaguars.
Yeah.
So this has been a build up to the point where now, honestly, with them going to the playoffs and facing these elite teams, they're gonna have a hard time.
They are. They definitely are. And that's why I'm saying, obviously, they want him to come back as fast as possible. But I feel like if say they say he's out for 3 weeks, and the Chiefs go 3-0, depending on how Matt Moore is playing, I wouldn't think it's crazy to go to Mahomes and be like, you know what, take an extra week off, make sure everything is completely good.
Yeah.
I don't want you to get out there thinking you're ready. You take one bad hit and you're kind of screwed us for the rest of the season. You know what I mean? Make sure you're good. Take the extra week off. Don't even touch the football. Maybe throw it while you're sitting down on the couch or whatever, and just rest everything, because he comes back in 3 weeks. That's what, week 10, week 11, give or take?
Yes.
So once he comes back, it's time for the playoff push. You got 6 weeks to solidify yourself as either a random playoff team or a Super Bowl contender, and you're gonna be facing teams that are fighting for a spot. So you're gonna be facing teams giving you their best every week. So you're gonna get hit a lot more your last 5 weeks than you would get hit the first couple weeks. He has to know either how to take it, to slide and not get hit, or not to say change his game, but be prepared that you're going to get hit, and you don't want him to take a bad hit and just be completely screwed. And then now you don't even have you don't have your MVP quarterback to push you into the playoffs, because you do not want to go into the playoffs when Matt Moore is your starting quarterback.
No, you do not. No, you do not. It's gonna be interesting to see what the Chiefs team does. All right, let's go a little bit more in depth. We was trying to speed through these games, but we end up going a lot more long form, which is good. We actually have a lot to talk about in terms of looking at each team, about how they look going to the playoffs. But looking at the Rams versus the Falcons, Rams beat the Falcons 37-10. Uh, Todd Gurley had 18 carries, 41 yards, which is great. Um, Jared Goff goes
That's
22
not
or
great.
37. Huh?
That's not great.
Better than what he's been doing.
It's sad that that's great, man. That's depressing.
But that's my thing. Is like when you look at this Rams team, it's better than what Todd Gurley
No,
has been doing this whole entire season.
you're
That's-
right, but like it's just depressing.
Even this number from Jared Goff, 22 of 37, 268 yards, 2 touchdowns.
You're right.
That's great just off of what Jared Goff has been this year.
I wonder if teams when they get their schedule and going throughout the season. So like going into this week, I wonder if the Falcons and the Patriots, not that much the Cardinals, but the Falcons and the Patriots, they looked at the Rams and the Patriots, they looked at their schedule and they're like, oh wow, we're facing the Jets. Oh wow, we're facing the Falcons this week. This is the week, we could wake up this week and it's a good win. It's an easy win. We just wake up because this team just sucks. I wonder if they think that.
I agree. I think so.
I would if you're telling me I'm facing the Dolphins or I'm facing the Jets or I'm facing the Giants or the Falcons, and I'm a borderline team that if we wake up now and we start putting some wins together, we can make the playoffs. I look at that team and I'm like, oh man, this is a great place to start it all. This is an easy win. We could all pad our stats now because this team just sucks, and we could really just wake this team up and get them ready just to have a playoff push. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, I agree. I think everybody looks at the Falcons, the Dolphins, and the
Jets.
Who said the Jets as the teams that we can readjust. We can figure out what we're gonna do with this offense and just plan out for the next game against leader teams. So I definitely see it. That's why I say Todd Gurley going 18 carries for 41 yards is good, depending on how we've been so far. Jared Goff 22 of 37. 268 yards, 2 touchdowns. That compared to what he did last year, you know what I mean? It's not the same.
It's really not.
Robert Woods, 5 receptions, 80 yards. Brandon Cooks, 4 receptions, 59 yards. Gerald Everett, 4 receptions, 50 yards, 1 touchdown. This team, this last year was one of the scariest teams to go up against. This is a good win for the Rams beating the Falcons, but it's just not the same. It's just not the same.
They're not a scary team now. Like you look at the Rams and you're like, okay, you don't really know what you're getting in general. You can get a really fast, high-powered offense, or you could get an offense that and not even just an offense. You could just get a team in general that just looks sluggish, that don't look like they care. And like we said, facing the Falcons, it was a good game to just get everything together. Sit the team down, figure out what you're going to do, execute, because it's not as hard to execute against this team.
Mm-hmm.
You could actually take your time, relax, realizing that you don't have an outstanding defensive line pressuring you as a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
As receivers, you don't have lockdown corners covering you. So you could actually get some momentum going here, starting with this game. And, it's unfortunate because the Falcons, like we said every week, we really thought going into this year that the Falcons were going to be a better team. And then you have a game where it went so bad that they literally took Matt Ryan out.
He was hurt.
They were thinking of taking him out regardless. They were saying that all over the broadcast that it was like, listen, they might take him out. They might take him out. He hasn't been playing well. Do you blame them if they did?
I'm hearing that they think about having Matt Ryan play the next game, which I think at this point in time, why?
It makes no sense to me. I mean, you're 1-6. I mean, the Falcons, like we said a couple weeks ago, 2 years ago, they were freaking in the Super Bowl. 2-3 years ago, they were in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And to fall this far with basically the same team, Maybe obviously some changes on the defense, on the offense, whatever. But for the core players are still there, and it's insane. It's so bad that they traded their receiver.
Yeah, Devontae Freeman, 7 carries, 19 yards. He was ejected from the game for throwing a punch at Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald, which we'll go back to the Rams for a second, only 1 sack for the game. This it's a tale of two teams, right? It's a team that both teams we thought before the season was going to be better than what they are.
Yes.
One team who's in the Super Bowl. Damn, both teams who were in the Super Bowl and just have regressed ever since.
Yep.
Now maybe the Rams can pull it back together, and they got Jalen Ramsey to up their defense and whatnot, which I think
he got bodied by Julio a couple times.
Yeah, but I think they're gonna at least they're making the effort to try to change things.
Mm-hmm.
And who knows what Jalen Ramsey is right now at this point in time? At one point he looked really, really good, and last season and then this season hasn't looked that good at all. But this tale of two teams where we both had them, as one of the top contenders, when they had their run for years to come. And now it's just like the Rams are just trying to get into the wild card position, and the Falcons are just trying to figure out things for next year.
Yeah, that's basically what it is.
And we're week 7 right now.
Yeah, that's what's crazy about it.
So
that's what's crazy about it.
Yeah, it tells you how much things could change in the NFL.
Yeah, it just shows you how 1 year you could be a historic team for all we know. You could be a team that's going to be talked about for generations, and then the next year you could be a team that no one cares because they're not that good. Every year, just like in every week in football, it's so different.
I agree. All right, man. I'm gonna ask you this. What do you want to cover first? You want to cover Giants and Cardinals, or you want to cover Eagles and Cowboys? I'll leave the floor for you.
Let's do Giants and Cardinals. I'm not too upset with that game, so it's not going to be a crazy.
Oh, so I got to fancy you?
Huh?
I'm gonna do a single shot of you?
No.
You're not outraged? Okay.
No, I'm not. I'm not outraged by what they did. I mean, granted, it was to the Cardinals, but I mean, like I've said in previous times, I'm here for Daniel Jones. I'm here for the roller coaster. I know there's going to be games that I'm just scratching my head, and I know there's going to be games that I'm just astonished at how good the kid could be. It's never. I wasn't expecting him the minute we got him to, like I said, go 14-2. I wasn't expecting that. I knew that we were going to lose.
All right. Hold on. Before I hear you comment, please. Before I even get to the stats numbers, I want you to save that for 1 second, sir. Save it for 1 second. I'm gonna get to the stats.
Please, bro. It's not please.
There's a couple please. Just like, I knew this was gonna happen. I didn't have any expectations. You said I'm going for the roller coaster.
Yeah, I said that before.
Is not a plea?
No, because all right. So you're telling me, all right, when number one, you
Sergio, I love you, you're my brother, man. But come on, man.
So you drafted a quarterback in the first year. Are you expecting to go 16-0?
No, but
are you expecting it to be a roller coaster where he's going to have games that he looks terrible?
Well, okay, this is what I'm going to ask you. This is the setup question. So, going off the stats of Daniel Jones' game, he was 22 of 35, 20 of 23 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, a completion of 62%. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have regrets having Daniel Jones at your starter right now?
No.
And here's why. Because you're pushing Daniel Jones out there in a time where the Giants team is not good at all. Daniel Jones is supposed to be your long-term future.
Nope.
And yet you're letting him get hit and popped every single game. He's throwing incomplete passes. He's not having the best of games. Granted, he won 2 games. Whoop-de-doo. But it's not. But is it really the long-term thing to have him play right now?
Yes, absolutely.
Why?
Me personally, I know some Giant fans out there don't agree with this logic, but I'm a big proponent. It mostly comes because of my baseball background, but I think it applies to football as well. I'm a big proponent of on-field experience. Mm-hmm. Everyone, like with Mahomes, and they kept him on for a year. When Mahomes came on his first year in his first game, it surprised me because I didn't think he understood how fast the NFL played at. He didn't get he got some on-field action, but he didn't get a lot, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So when we started 0-2, we were discussing in the show, especially we were discussing that we should bring Daniel Jones to start. I said yes because I want him to learn how fast the NFL plays at.
Right.
I want him to learn how hard the NFL hits. I want him to see a live defense while the stadium's roaring and we got to score a touchdown. I want to get him that experience now when it doesn't matter. Whereas, say we kept him off this year, we bring him back next year, and say by some miracle we're actually good next year, right?
Mm-hmm.
And say that next year was his first year ever playing. I wouldn't want to be in a situation where we're down a touchdown. We have 2 minutes left to go. We gotta march down 80 yards down the field, and he's never experienced that before. You know what I mean? Whereas this year, I know we sucked. I know we weren't going to do good. I knew even if we kept Eli quarterback, or if we kept Daniel Jones quarterback, we weren't going to compete. So why not get him into those experience? And maybe throughout the year, he's going to have drives where we need to score here. We have 2 minutes and we need to go 80 yards. And even if we win, it doesn't matter. But it gets him the experience of, all right, this is how you're going to run your 2-minute offense in an actual game, not in just practices where it's two-hand touch on the quarterback, basically. You know what I mean? I want him to learn that. So I knew going into the year, once we got, mind you, again, I didn't want Daniel Jones as a quarterback. I didn't want him when we first drafted him, but, can't do nothing about that now. So I just got to accept it. I knew that he's going to have games where he's going to throw 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. He's going to have games where he throws no touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He's going to have up and down games. And as of right now, I'm not upset that we lost. Obviously, as a Giant fan in total, yeah, I want to win every game, yeah. But understanding that we're not going to win every game, understanding that our quarterback is still 6 games into his career, 4 games into his career, actually. And I want him just to keep learning. Hopefully that for next year, we can actually compete for a wild card spot, maybe division, I'm more looking next year, when this year is just, okay, listen, get your reps in, learn the defenses, learn how the NFL plays at, the speed they play, how they hit, how everything acts, learn how to read the when they try to hide schemes within schemes, learn how to do all that now. So when it doesn't fucking matter, where if we get blown out 38-0, there's no surprise. Where next year we're gonna have actual expectations next year. Where next year we're expecting to compete at least, So I don't want to go into a new year, a new quarterback never played the game before and expect to compete. You know what I mean?
No, listen, man. You said a lot in that I want to say about 2-minute diatribe about the Giants and your hope. And to what? I agree with you. I don't think you bench Daniel Jones now, because I think it pretty much hurts his confidence. But at some point you have to have some. Let me ask you this: is Daniel Jones your long-term quarterback?
Yes.
Okay, so you could confirmably say that Daniel Jones is somebody that you want to stick around for the next, let's say, 2 or 3 years.
As of right now, yes, I'd be comfortable and okay with if you were to tell me for the next 3 years, at least the next 3 years, Daniel Jones is my starting quarterback week in, week out. I'm okay with that.
Okay. My thing is with Daniel Jones, it's just like, damn, man, maybe with a better team and a better offense, he would, be better than what he is now.
But then, do you blame him for that?
Huh?
Do you blame him for that?
No, I don't necessarily blame him for that, but he didn't decide he wanted to go to the Giants. They chose him. It's just like when you look at young quarterbacks, especially rookie quarterbacks, playing for these teams that are not good at all, and you're realizing that this is the best years of his careers, basically being washed away right now. And he's getting popped, he's getting popped left and right every single game, and making bad decisions. It's hurting his confidence a little bit every time he plays. It just makes me question: is it the right time?
But usually I would agree with you that you're getting hit constantly. It's gonna
your confidence is getting hurt every single game.
But it doesn't show it with Daniel Jones. He got that Eli stupid face going, where he gets hit and gets up, and it's like nothing freaking happened. Obviously he has Eli mentoring him, I hope. So he's learning that Eli probably told him the minute he came into this organization, like you're not 90% of the time you're on the field, you're gonna be on your ass because they're gonna knock your ass down. But that 10%, do something good with it. And I feel like I agree. You constantly getting hit over and over and over. You start to lose not just confidence in yourself, you lose confidence in your O line because they're not covering for you.
And to also add to that, and we talked about it before, this is a New York team with New York media who are going to be on Daniel Jones like they've been every single game.
Yeah, but I feel
and they've been forgiving.
That's what I'm saying. They haven't because I feel like the New York media understands we suck. It's not just Daniel Jones. Our defense is the worst defense. Our offense is not good. We have some bright spots in Golden Tate having some good catches out there. Sterling Shepard and Sterling Shepard. As much as Evan Ingram pissed me off this week, Evan Ingram, Saquon, obviously, we have some bright spots, but I feel like they understand that this year was just so okay. If we win more than 2 or 3 games, it's an accomplishment. This year is more just listen. Everyone get your practice reps in. Make sure you don't die out there one week and we can never bring you back. And we'll be back next year. It's really that's what it is.
Oh man!
If you tell me at the end of the year we end the year with all our main players healthy, I'm like, wow, that's an accomplishment. Because that's our Super Bowl. When we get the end of the year report and we see the end of the year injury list and none of our big players are on it, that's our Super Bowl. We're like, wow, next year we're all gonna be healthy. We're good. That's
Sergio, I gotta be honest with you, man. It's depressing. It's really depressing hearing you talk as a Giants fans about, this is his first year, man. He's not with a good team. I expected him to be horrible anyway. That's fine. If he gets out of there healthy, it's a miracle. That's our Super Bowl. Like it honestly, to be a Giants fan, man, it sounds depressing as shit. I'll be honest with you.
But honestly,
I don't think you make any bad points. I think you're right. I came here to grill you on if Daniel Jones should be a starter or not, and I think you've made cases to the point where you stick to the ride.
And on top of that, what are we improving on if we put Eli in? It's no improvement. We're actually decreasing it because now we put in a guy that can't get away from the hits, whereas in Daniel Jones, at least he has an opportunity because he's younger and he's more mobile. He has the chance to get away from. Not saying he will. Not saying he's going to avoid every hit, but at least it gives you the satisfaction in your head that there's a chance. There's a chance that he could avoid this hit. He could make an extra second or two for himself by moving around. Eli, it's like, all right, we're fucking putting a goddamn couch on the fucking on the field, and he's not going to move from that one spot. It's depressing, but it's the life of a New York fan.
Life of a New York fan. It's depressing as shit.
I'll tell you this much. Every New York fan definitely needs to go to fucking therapy, bro.
And this is your therapy.
This is my therapy. This is therapeutic, man. It gets all the freaking rage and disgust of me being a New York fan out.
And I don't want to take away from Kyle Murray. Kyle Murray had was 14 to 21, 104 yards, 66 completion. He is finding his way with this team. He's doing the best he can. I think I wonder if with he has he don't have the best offense, to be honest with you.
That kid Chase Edmonds played well.
Chase Edmonds did good. 27 carries, 126 yards, 3 touchdowns. Again, it's just these teams with these rookies, man. And we talked about with Daniel Jones a little bit. It doesn't really hurt Kyle Murray, but damn, it's just like this is the best year of his career.
Yeah, it just sucks to throw away 1 year,
Yeah.
Especially when you go into the year knowing that this is a throwaway year.
Sorry to cut you off. And that the amount of hits he's going to take with this offense, you know what I mean?
No, yeah, because there's times where you get to the 7th week, you get to the 8th and 9th week, and you're like, okay, now we kind of figure out we're not going to compete. But For 8 weeks, we were having our hopes up. For like the Cardinals, for the Dolphins, the Giants, the Jets, you know, not as much the Jets because, like I said, I did think they were going to compete, and I know a couple of Jet fans that did think they were going to compete. But like for the Giants, the Cardinals, the Dolphins, the Redskins, you go into this year and you're like, this is a complete throwaway year. There's nothing to be hopeful for.
And they drafted Kyler Murray to be the starter with this offense, you know. But again, it just goes back to our other conversations. All right, last but certainly not least, your favorite team, your favorite quarterback, your top 10.
Yeah, my top 10.
Dak Prescott and the Cowboys beat the Eagles 37-10. Dak Prescott heard what you said. You heard what you said last week. He heard you talk that shit.
Hold on.
He heard you talk that shit.
The fuck on.
He heard you.
Read the stats, please.
He heard you.
Read the stats. Go ahead.
21 of 27, 239 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 77% completion, 100 QPR.
Did we not say those are the exact same stats for Tom Brady? And didn't we say that was a bad game?
No, actually, let me go back to it. I think Tom Brady's a lot worse than that.
31 for 45, 249, 1-1.
31 of 45, 249 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. No, Dak Prescott had a better game. He had a better game.
Literally the exact same stats.
21 of 27 compared to, what was it from Tom Brady? 31 of 45? It's a better game.
Why? Because Brady had more attempts?
Yeah.
There's nothing to do. You actually look at the attempts. The attempts mean nothing.
I'm looking at Dak Prescott handling the ball well. And with that offensive scheme. And granted, he has Ezekiel Elliott, which changes things a little bit there. We don't have to pull in his hands that much. But still, with this Cowboys team, he had a great game.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not. There's nothing to do with Dak right now. My argument is, if you say those are good stats for Dak,
yep.
Brady had what?
31 to 47?
Yeah, 249 yards. And Dak had 239 yards. They had literally 10 yards separate. But for Brady, that's a bad game. For Dak, that's a good game. But you still want to put Dak. Okay.
Well, you also put into context, Cowboys are facing Eagles, who you have as one of your teams that could possibly get into the playoffs.
Yes.
The Patriots are playing against the Jets. Do you see a difference there? Do you see a difference in teams? Do you see a difference in defense? I'm just pointing it out there. So going 21 to 27, 239 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception against the Eagles is 77% completion is a lot better than Tom Brady did against the Jets. You would think against the Jets going to the game, they'd have an even better game than that.
I was not impressed.
Which is still a good game. It's not great.
I wasn't impressed by Dak. Who I was impressed by was Zeke. Zeke really played well.
Yes, he did.
Zeke played very well that game. I was very impressed because, like we said in the past shows, he hasn't been playing well this year. No. And I feel like this game was like he really stepped it up, and it showed in the scoreboard how dominant they really were. Zeke was the catalyst for that.
Zeke had 22 carries, 111 yards, 1 touchdown. By the way, Dak Prescott had 5 carries, 30 yards, 1 touchdown too. So he also scored a passing touchdown and he rushed for a touchdown. Which again,
so did Taylor Austin.
Give him his props. Come on.
All right, sure.
We talked about this.
It was a good game.
Off air, we talked about this.
It was a good game.
Carson Wentz went 16 to 26, 191 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 61% completion, 80 QPR. On this night, Dak Prescott was better.
Yes, I admit that. Quite so much to tell with that game.
Okay.
He got pumped by that good defense by the Cowboys. Nothing wrong with that.
Amari Cooper, 5 receptions, 106 yards. He's playing like he should be playing.
Just saying, though, also going to last week, I think it was last week or the week before that we had this conversation where you were like, you would take Dak over Rodgers. Because I don't know, man.
No, okay. I admitted on air, live, I was wrong about that.
Okay.
I was, eh, yeah, I was wrong about that. I was wrong. I was wrong.
I was about to come to the goddamn computer and I had problems.
No, I had to think about it for a minute. I was saying that my point was the weapons that Dak Prescott and the Cowboys have when they're playing their best. I would want that team in a 2-minute offense
The,
than
over,
Aaron
the
Rodgers team.
overall team.
Yes.
Yes, of course. But I was
that was my argument. That was my argument.
but I was saying was quarterback for quarterback.
Oh.
I'd take and you. That's what I thought you were saying. I thought you said
no.
For quarterback. You would take Dak over Rodgers in a 2-minute
No. I was talking about with that quarterback with the team that they have. I would take Dak Prescott's team.
Okay, so even
what Dak Prescott could do.
Even
Aaron Rodgers.
Teams.
Yes.
Even teams, you take Rodgers over Dak.
Yes.
Okay, just making sure.
If Aaron Rodgers had the same team that the Cowboys have, and they both have the same even amount of wide receivers, running backs, that whole entire team, they don't same situation. I'm taking Aaron Rodgers.
Okay, just
because Dak Prescott's with the Cowboys, Aaron Rodgers with the Packers, I would lean a little bit more towards Dak Prescott if the team is playing at their best. I think when the Cowboys,
even with the way the Packers in general have been playing, really,
when the Cowboys are at their best, they're really, really good. They're really, really, really good in a 2-minute offense. They're really, really good. Doesn't mean that Aaron Rodgers is not great. I'm just saying I lean a little bit towards Dak Prescott. Not a lot, but a little bit.
You know what this tells me? Nothing like negative, but what it tells me is you rely more on Dak's offense more than Dak's abilities compared to where in Rodgers you rely more on Rodgers' abilities more than his offense in general. You know what I mean?
I know. I rely both. I'm looking at them both equally on what their team is. You know what I'm saying? So like that. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Because if you look at it like this, like you said, if you had Dak on the Cowboys, you think the Cowboys' offense is a little bit better.
Yes.
Than the Packers' offense.
Yes.
But you take Rodgers over Dak. So my argument, what I'm saying is, in that situation, you're relying more on the Cowboys' offense to propel them to win as a whole, rather than just Dak taking over the game. Where I was saying, Rodgers is going to take over that game, and no matter who his offense is, he's gonna do good.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? You're relying more on the offense in general as a whole with the Cowboys, where yes, you're hoping Dak does his job. You're hoping everyone does his job. Where in the Packers, you just hope Rodgers wills his way because he's just that good. He'll find a way to win.
I think when I put Dak's performance, I also have to look at the scheme of the Cowboys.
No, yes,
I think that's important. I think when I talk about Dak Prescott and what he can do, he fits so well with the scheme. If he was to go to any other team, maybe he fits well with that scheme too. But Dak Prescott is such a good quarterback where he fits with the scheme and he can make it work. Aaron Rodgers is the same way. Aaron Rodgers could fit with the Packers scheme and make it work. So I look at the performance that they have, but also look at the team they have as well. And part of being a good quarterback is fitting the scheme of your team. So that's where I come from.
Okay.
So that's why I said lean a little bit more Dak Prescott. I feel like he doesn't have to do as much as Aaron Rodgers would have to do.
I agree with that he wouldn't have to do as much. Yeah. You know, obviously, especially with Zeke in the backfield. Obviously.
Yes.
But I still, if it's I have to pick one or two to win me a game, one drive, 2 minutes to win it, man, give me Aaron Rodgers all day, every day.
That's fair.
Everybody.
That's fair. I can't really argue with that. I can't.
But yeah, good game for the Cowboys. Very good game for
the Cowboys. But speaking to this game, like you said, good game. The Eagles, they just not clicking. They're just not clicking. There's maybe you want to attribute that to injuries on the team, but just this year they're just not clicking as a playoff contender.
It seems just like and I like we said earlier, I don't think the division's over yet. I think it's one game. They still got to play one more time, I believe. So what's to know about it? You never know what can happen. It's only week 7. We
Yeah.
still have 10 more weeks left to go. Anything can happen from here on, but it does show a little bit of there might be a tiny if this is how it is, if this is how the Eagles are going to continue to play, there is a little gap between them and the Cowboys, and for that that might be what determines playoff in general. Whereas there may not even be a wild card coming out the NFC East. It may be winner goes to the playoffs. And this game, as much it's a 2-team race, obviously in the NFC. There's no question there.
Yeah.
Even though low key, if the Giants won the game this week, we would have been a game out of first. But we don't talk about it. We don't talk about it
because they lost. That's why we don't talk about it. We don't talk about it. They lose.
We're 2 games out of first, bro. Don't worry about us, okay? We're getting hot now. We're just warming up. Daniel Jones is just losing up the shoulder. Saquon's coming back. He's gonna go off. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
We got a guaranteed win in the Jets still, so that's 1 at least. We're gonna get 3 wins at least.
I'll tell you what though, and this is just a sidebar here. We're about 1 hour and 35 minutes in, so we better wrap this show up real quick. But I kind of wish that Odell Jr. was still on this team, the Young Giants team.
Oh man, so do I.
I think there is a little bias remorse for Odell Beckham Jr. going to the Browns and seeing what that team is. And I think if Odell Beckham Jr. was with this Giants team, I think they'll do a whole lot better. I think Odell Beckham Jr. will be one of the best receivers in the league, but he's not.
They're just not using him right there. Freddie Kitchens doesn't know what the fuck he's doing.
But I think if he would have stayed with the Giants, that could have been a great team.
Yeah, I agree. But back to this game, I do think it does tell us there's a little gap between the teams, but I don't think it's an unsurmountable gap. I do think the Eagles can come back. I do think they can still win the division. Not to say that they will, but I do think they can still make it a close division and possibly win it. Do I think the Cowboys should be favored? Yes. Do I think that they will win the division at the end of the year? Yes. Do I think that they're going to make some noise?
Hard to say.
Hard to say. I agree because, like I said, Zeke hasn't been playing well all year. This is the first game where he really showed his old ways.
The defense is off and on.
Yeah, they're figuring it out now after that 3-game stretch of just playing really bad. This was a good setup. Good game coming back. Again, I don't trust Dak as much, but that's obviously noted. But at the end of the day, if that defense plays as good as it possibly can, it doesn't matter what Dak does. The defense is going to dominate and stuff and suffocate a lot of the offense, especially in the NFC. As long as they don't run into the Saints right off the bat, I think that they can win a game or two. That defense can be that good. And again, it also determines how Zeke's playing. If Zeke's playing like he did the last 3 games, it doesn't matter how good Dak plays. They're not going to win because as much as you want to say Dak's a top 10 quarterback, that offense runs around Zeke.
Yes, it does.
If Zeke's not playing well, that doesn't matter what Dak does. They're not going to win that game. And it showed in the last 3 games. Zeke was playing terrible, and they haven't won it.
That's fair.
And that's the type of defenses and teams they're going to be playing in the playoffs. So it's still early to say, but if Zeke's playing well, I'm not surprised if they win a game or 2 in the playoffs. Would not be surprised.
That's fair. And you know what? That pretty much sets us up because they're going to a bye week, which is a great chance to tell me who's the game for next week.
Let's see here. Give me 1 second. All right, we got the Redskins Vikings on Thursday.
That's good game.
Not really. That's another blowout.
Who said? I'm sorry.
Redskins Vikings.
Oh, okay. I thought you said something else.
Then Sunday we got Seahawks Falcons, Chargers Bears, Giants Lions. Oh, the pain. Jets Jaguars, Rams Bengals. This is going to be one of the games I am going to keep an eye on. The Bills Eagles. The Bucks.
That's a good game.
Yeah, that's going to be a good. I'm going to keep an eye on that one. Bucks Titans, nothing really there. Broncos Colts, probably one of the better defenses. Brissett's going to be facing, so it's a good game to at least keep an eye on him, Jacoby, for a little bit. Saints Cardinals.
Yeah,
Nothing really there. This is gonna be a good game. I would like to see Panthers Niners.
that's a really good game.
Yeah,
That's a really good game.
your Raiders versus the Texans. It's another good game. I think that's gonna be a really good game too.
Yeah, I think so.
Possibly the most fun game to watch. Not saying it will be, but it has the possibility. These next two games are probably the most fun games they're going to be able to out there on Sunday. We got the Browns Patriots, I mean, and the Packers Chiefs. Those two games are going to be fun games.
Those are some juicy games, man.
Yeah, man. And
because
then Monday, Dolphins Steelers.
You know what? I think those two games, Chiefs, Packers, just because Patrick Mahomes is not there, it's going to rely a lot on that defense. So I want to see how Aaron Rodgers do with a elite defense like the Chiefs. And that Browns Patriots game,
it's gonna be fun. It has the potential to be a really fun game,
and it doesn't because is Sam Darnold.
Baker, you mean?
Sorry, Baker maybe gonna have the same problem that Sam Darnold had.
No, you're right. Which
I think he 100% can.
If he sees ghosts, yeah, but it's also if he has a really good game, that's a shootout right there. That's a complete shootout.
I don't know because Stephen Gilmore with Odell Beckham Jr. Like that is gonna.
Yes, but
I don't know.
Think about it. The Patriots have a really good defense.
Yes, they do.
They haven't had an amazing offense of recent.
They now have Sanu.
Yes, the changes a little bit.
If Josh Gordon is cleared,
it does.
Josh Gordon.
It does change, yes.
Yes.
But as of right now, they don't have an intimidating offense.
Okay.
The Browns are question marks on both sides. On paper, it's obviously the minute on paper means bullshit. It doesn't. It means absolutely nothing. But on paper, that's all we could do right now. Yeah. They have a scary offense by name, and they have a scary defense by name.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so if they find a way to step it up on Sunday against the Patriots and actually play like the team that they were expecting them to play as when we were coming into the year, this is gonna be a fun game to watch.
No, I'm definitely gonna be tuning in. I think that is definitely the game of the week for me of week 8. It's just that because there's so much interesting elements to that story of can the Browns get together? What does this new offense of the Patriots look like? How's the defense going to compare to? How is the defense going to stack up to the Browns offense? A lot of good storylines coming out of that.
I completely agree.
I just think we're just predicting right now. The Patriots are going to run through the Browns.
Yeah, oh yeah.
They are going to run through the Browns.
I agree with you.
Which again, that creates interesting story for next week's show.
Yes, it does. That's definitely going to be one of the games we cover.
Any final notes on week 7? Anything you want to touch on before we get out of here?
Nope. I just can't wait till week 8 and World Series tonight.
World Series this night and the start of basketball.
And they're going to be like we just showed you. We just said in the schedule. It's going to be a fun week in football too. At least 3, actually at least 4 games. I'm keeping an eye on this week. At least. Those 2, the Niners, Panthers, and the what's it called, Eagles, Bills. Those 4 games, I'm definitely keeping an eye on those.
Well, man, I can't wait to sit back here next week with you and talk a little bit about how the Giants lose another one. I love you too, brother. All right, man. Signing off. My name is Tyriece Simon.
My name is Sergio Marquez.
And this is Play Action. See you next week, guys.
Have a good one, guys.